Gentlelady yields back. Chair now recognizes the gentlelady from Wyoming, Ms. Hageman. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, and thank you to all of you for being here today. Ms. Hageman, thank you for your testimony today and for representing our western states. I want to focus on one specific part of your written testimony because I think it carries the most weight. You state that when the federal regulation and process becomes unbalanced with the goal of producing the energy the Interior Department manages on behalf of all Americans, then we have a situation where the federal government is purposely preventing federal production, resulting in higher prices for consumers, more foreign imports, less energy security, etc. What you are describing is energy poverty. Energy poverty imposed on the American people by a burdensome federal structure which Joe Biden has weaponized. Nearly half of Wyoming is owned by the federal government, as is over 60% of its mineral estate. When Joe Biden weaponizes his control of federal lands, he is targeting Wyoming and the Americans we serve. Wyoming produces 13 times more energy than it consumes and is the second biggest net energy supplier among the 50 states. I think one of the biggest disconnects for Washington, D.C. and Americans not from the West is to truly understand how substantial the federal presence in our community is and the impact it has on developing the resources we have, which the nation so relies upon. Americans are facing the most expensive heating bills in 25 years. Food prices are up 10% from the previous year. Gas prices in November 22 were the highest ever, and nearly 34% of American households reduced or skipped basic expenses to pay energy bills. Do you have similar statistics for the cost of Biden administration's policies on energy producers?
Well, I think there was a study done that showed we would be producing 2 to 3 million more barrels a day in the United States now if President Trump's policies had been followed and not President Biden's. And that equates to us having to send $100 billion overseas so that we can get energy in to make up for that difference. So it's much better to produce it here. And if you look at where oil and gas is produced in Wyoming and across the West, it is certainly in remote areas, not near disadvantaged communities. So we also have that added benefit in Wyoming.
Thank you. And would you agree that this is forced energy poverty on the American people and producers?
Well, I think if these goals are ultimately brought to their conclusion, it would result in more energy scarcity. People are trying to electrify everything and get rid of natural gas. And if you take that policy to its conclusion, then when the wind doesn't blow and the sun doesn't shine, we don't have electricity. So that's scarcity. That's not being able to run your ICU. That's not being able to turn the lights on. So that has a lot of ramifications beyond if these policies were taken to the ultimate conclusion. I believe that Americans are not going to let that happen, though.
Well, the reality is that energy security is national security. Affordable energy is the key to our prosperity. Affordable energy is key to affordable housing and affordable food production. Increasing the cost of energy affects our poorer communities the most. It is in reality a terribly regressive tax imposed by those who can most easily afford it and who don't suffer its consequences. The bottom line for me, I believe that there is a special place in hell for those people who push policies that are intended to increase the cost of housing, food, and energy. I yield back.